Even though with the variant, business has been going on, and business will continue to grow and grow and grow. People are going to engage business. That's the way it goes. But, brothers and sisters, what has happened is some people have begun to engage business, but there are a large portion of the workforce that did not return to their jobs. What a large portion of that workforce is doing, brothers and sisters, is finding a creative narrative for themselves and being able to apply it to different business opportunities, whether it's different businesses that they're working with or creating their own business. I'm going to share some of my secrets, so to speak, some of my wisdoms that I've accumulated over the years, some of my own, some of from my mentors, and some from current events. But I think today will be a wonderful day if we can actually just kind of kick in and lock in. I claim to be a creative only because that's what I've been for a long time, not creating stuff. Let me frame that. What I am, like most of it, is a very, very efficient discoverer. It is the French term bricolage, where you can put things together and arrange things together in a way where it creates value. That's what we're going to talk about today. The subject matter you should be fairly aware of, and I always have to have a case study. So today our case study will be Venus and Serena Williams. The new movie is out, King Richard, and they've taken this biopic about their father, Richard Williams, and I have begun to watch this film. Now, full disclosure, he had a book that came out a couple years ago, amazing book. I would suggest everybody read it if you get a chance. But he also did some interviews years prior to this film coming out. And I just think that as much as, I'm a creative and I deal with other creatives, this guy is really a genius because he frames certain things from his upbringing. And let me be very, very clear. He framed certain things from his upbringing, and he turned essentially coal into diamonds. And so today I really want to talk about our creative process, about how we can turn coal into diamonds. Now, get your notepads, get your paper and pencil. This information, as I say, is free. What you do with it is your own business. We don't normally do this every show, but I felt like today it was a great day. Like I said, I got a chance to look a little bit at the King Richard movie. I would suggest if you have kids, watch this film with your kids. If you're thinking about doing business, watch this film with your significant other and begin to understand that, great ideas, great projects, great concepts don't take massive amounts of money. What it takes is belief in the infrastructure. He had one thing in the film. You've probably heard this say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. This is, of course, the comeuppance of the Williams family. And I believe, brothers and sisters, there's something that can be gleaned from this. Obviously, I'm talking about it because I've been in a space where I've been a teacher, educator, all those type of things. But many of you don't know that I actually played tennis up into my college years. I played tennis. And so watching what this man did with Venus and Serena Williams, it befuddled me and it amazed me beyond tennis, because if you look at the model and the present models in tennis, what he did is in no way supposed to be feasible and definitely not successful. Okay, so listen, when we come back, I'm going to check on everybody. We're going to do our shout outs and we're going to get into this piece, creativity and profitable business. I'm Preacher Miles, the Shout Out Show. Thank you for joining us. Let's roll. All right, everybody, welcome back to the SOS Shout Out Show. I'm Preacher Miles, your host. Like I said, I'm the host. I'm not the owner of the platform. So today, brothers and sisters, if you have any questions about creativity, please put them in the comment section. Let's have a conversation. We might even run a couple minutes late today, but I don't want anybody to be on this show, on this platform, and not feel comfortable expressing the question. Ask a question. Ask a question. Discover what it is you're trying to talk about, what you're trying to learn. This, like I said, is a very open platform. So I want to make sure we start there. Let's get our shout outs out of the way. First up, of course, we got Sister Reed. Sister Reed, craft services and dietitian director here on the SOS. Thank you so much, Sister Reed. And you guys know Sister Reed actually expanded on her goal. And, she would give your brother, yours truly, food and cook food and all that. And then she expanded that concept. And guess what she did? She did catering. It is not really a big jump from creating food to catering. What she did was, I'm going to take the food and I'm going to distribute it. And for distributing that food, there are carry costs of which the consumer is willing to pay, and they pay for the food. So a meal that probably costs $1.20, Sister Reed was charging $15. Sister Reed, you killing in the game. But I'm just saying, this is the way business works. Don't be mad at profits. I always say that. Do not be mad at profits. Don't be mad at how people made business if you didn't think the same way and you didn't appreciate the process for getting there. That's number one. Next up, who we got in the box here? We got my little brother, Johnny L. Thomas. JT, I saw that picture of, I hope you got my text about Justin's friend that got a Lamborghini for the 16th birthday. My advice is to stop him from turning 16 so you won't have them issues. Because me and you, we can't even get a rental car together. That boy got a friend with a Lamborghini. That's scary. Shout out to you, big little brother. I appreciate you, man. Much love. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for coming on the show. My little brother, JT. JT, jump in on the creative thing. And my brother Bilal Salahuddin, representing his wife, Sister Sonia. Hey, man, thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope you're not still in the airport. I hope you got to where you were going and at least got through security, brother. Thank you so much, Bilal, for tuning into the show. Want to hear your opinion on this whole idea of creativity and profitable business. If you have something you want to share, appreciate you, man. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Eric, Easy E, what's going on, brother? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for coming on the show. Appreciate you, man. Your presence means a lot. Big shout out to you and your family. Next up, oh man, Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down, Altaf Rashid, the Canadian ambassador to the Shout Out Show. What's going on, Altaf? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for coming on the show. Hopefully, this show is worth everybody's time. I put a big inshallah on that. Thank you so much. And next up, we got Sister Mary Moss, who has me working like Michael Jackson, working day and night. Got me working day and night. But Mom, good to see you on the show. Nice to see that you tell me this. And for a lot of you guys don't know, some of my craziest ideas started with my mom. My mom gave me a space to experiment, be successful, fail, and start at a very young age. I'll talk to you about it when we come back. Next up, Sister Rabina Chowdhury. Girl, did you get out of Facebook jail? Did you get out of Facebook jail? We have missed you, Sister Rabina. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I know you send messages, but I know they got you on lockdown. You got federal charges on Facebook. But we miss you. We love you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Wa alaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you and your family. Sister Rabina in the house. I know it's going to be a good show. Next up. And what kind of show can we have without Sister Satana working the back? I'll tell you what kind of show we can have. It could be a bad show because I can't do this, and I can't do this, and I can't walk off, and I can't come back because Sister Satana has to work the controls. Sister Satana, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. So let's get to this, brothers and sisters. I want to play a clip from an interview that Richard Williams did when he was on his book tour. I want you to listen very, very closely because I'm only going to play about 2.5 to 3 minutes of this clip. But the 2.5 and the 3 minutes of this clip I'm going to play are really groundbreaking in the context of how this guy took something, a particular sport, if you will, that had by nature and by financial structure, really, it was not inclusive of African Americans. It was not inclusive of African Americans. Tennis is an expensive sport, just like golf is an expensive sport, just like field hockey. It lends itself to a lot of time, practice time, facilities, stuff like that. Well, this guy changes the whole model. But I want you to listen to what he's saying.
A lot of the people in the tennis world tried to get me not to say that, but you always, my mom told me to tell the truth, and that's why I did that. But as we went along and watched tennis, I realized that not only they had a wrong concept, I had the right educational plan and everything else, but the wrong concept, trying to make it on someone else. And I started saying, I'm going to make it on my own.
Well, I mean, it's so astonishing. I mean, you had no previous experience
No.
with tennis. Did you ever pick up a racket
No,
before?
matter of
Okay.
fact, where I come from, you couldn't pick a racket up.
Okay. You set out to teach first yourself the game,
Yeah.
and then you start training Venus and Serena when they're old enough. The money might have been a motivation, but I mean, what gave you the confidence to think, I've never played this game. I can pick up a racket and I can teach my daughters, not only teach them, but make them potentially the best in the world?
If you watch women's, and I'm sure you have being a woman, women can do anything. I mean, there's nothing they cannot do. And I've seen women do things that no one thought they could do, but they always are. They're the greatest achievers on the earth. So I decided that one day I wasn't going to allow no one to teach them because I didn't know what they would teach, but I knew what I would teach. So I taught myself how to play tennis, how I could teach them. That wasn't the hardest part. That was easy. The hardest part was the establishment of tennis. Because when I came through with tennis, I wanted them to hit with what is called an open stand. And tennis had never done open stands before. So they said, this guy's a nut. This guy's crazy. This guy's a controversy. But one thing for certain, you weren't going to change my mind because my mom taught me once you make a decision, if you stand by it, you can make it good. So I wasn't about to change my mind.
I hear what you're saying, and the plan and the potential and all that. But when people look at their children, when I look at my children, I'm trying to spot their potential. I'm trying to see if there's something special in the kids to which they can grow and become really good at. What did you see in your? You must have seen something in your daughters that they had what it took to be champion.
They had no other choice. Because see, if you look at any child, it doesn't matter what child is, whether it's Canada, America, England, it doesn't make a difference. That child almost is that home. Whatever they're taught in that home, almost is what that child going to be. Home, school, church, and let's say relatives. That is the child. So I had to make sure the relatives were strong. Because if weak relatives, weak kid, weak home, weak kid, weak schools, weak kid. So everything had to be perfect almost around them. So that's why they didn't have hardly no friends. We had to make the family the friends. We had to cut out everything that would stop them from being where they was. And that's how I knew they would make it.
But was there a moment? Was there a moment where you looked at your daughters and you knew for sure that they were going to be great at
Yes, I
tennis?
did. Yeah.
What was that
The
moment?
very moment they were born. I remember, yes, I remember when Venus was born. The the nurse was, I'm sorry, but I said, I'm taking her home. She said, no, you can't take that baby home. I said, I'm going to take this child home. And about 4 minutes, security was around me. You put that child down right now. And they wasn't joking. That's when can I get my baby? Wait 2 or 3 days, you can take her. But when I got Venus on the first day, I took her out to take pictures, tried to put a racket in her hand and a book. And it must have worked because Venus is 34 and she's been in school almost 30 years. And I knew she'd be a champion because if you look at most people that could afford tennis, I don't think they wanted their kids to become a tennis champion. It was a few of them. Most of the parents want their kids to be governor, president, big lawyers, and so on, or doctors. And the poor people like me, that's black, that in the ghetto, they would love to have a child tennis player. They didn't have the money or the patience to do it, no plan. So we had no other choice but to be there. And I knew we would be because I looked at a lot of different neighborhoods and so on. I looked at a lot of places that had invited us over. This is after Venus became super good. And I said, no, it's too weak for us. No, I knew they would make it.
Okay. So I just want to say something. Richard Williams talked about something that it may have been missed. The nuance may have been missed. I have a principle, and I've really, really tried to exert this principle during COVID. And I had this idea, we heard me talk about deliberate practice, but I moved it to another thing. And it allowed me to do different things with pitches and stuff like that. I learned and have continued to try to master the art of working in the abyss. Let me tell you what I mean. Working in the abyss essentially says that I'm going to work in a space whereby the only way that space becomes more and more comfortable to me, more and more reliable to me, is that I get better in the space. Let me say it again. The only way that this abyss becomes more and more comfortable is that I begin to get more practical. I begin to improve. I begin to see skill sets develop that make the abyss much more comfortable. And in the abyss, brothers and sisters, the power of it is it's transactional, it's transformative. You can take it different places. If you listen carefully to what Mr. Williams said, which I think is powerfully important, he said he had never played tennis before. He never played tennis before. He didn't play organized tennis. He didn't play league tennis. He didn't play in high school. He didn't play in college. The man grew up, and if you want to go and watch his, he said his success is due to his mother and cotton. Mother and cotton. And what he learned was his mother instilled in him that even in the abyss, there's value. What is the value? You're the value. You improve your value. One of the things I talk about with creativity is stop trying to be creative in comfortable places. As a comedian, I would never be where I am if I kept going to comfortable places. Going to places where people just laugh and ha 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 because you don't know the merits of your work. You don't know the merits of a good joke. You don't know the merits of really working the crowd. When people don't know you or don't know what to expect, and you go up in a cold crowd and you're going to do 10 minutes as opposed to having 40, 50 minutes this is a skill set. This is the mastery of working in the abyss. If I cut off the light for this show, brothers and sisters, I have to go from a visual representation to an oral representation. I have to speak and make sure that I fill in the picture for you for what you can't see visually. These are the skill sets. And it's not this idea of becoming three-dimensional. It's becoming multi-dimensional. It is the scope that we understand that as we speak to people, they hear different things. Some people will hear what you say. Some people will see what you look like. Some people will smell what you smell like. Mr. Williams, brothers and sisters, is the epitome of the abyss. He is not. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Janice, how are you? All right. Reese said they're from Saginaw, Michigan. I remember them. Okay, cool. I appreciate it. Sister Rabina, Richard sounds exactly like my dad. Yeah. We got another one. The abyss scenario fosters creativity, the fire for learning, commitment, hard work, and self-worth, ultimately success. I got creative at 14 and was able to retire at 49. Much love to you. We appreciate you. People often say, I think of the business in certain places. I've done shows in prisons before, and I'm going to tell you one of the reasons I do like to do the shows in prison. I'm going to tell you why. Outside of connecting with the guys in prison are some of the most creative folks in the world. Some of the most creative folks in the world, good and bad, but extremely creative. This is like the ultimate abyss. You don't have the freedom of your time. You don't have the ability to democratize yourself because you're constantly dealing with these things, if you will. You're constantly trying to move the goalposts, as I say. And in creativity, what Mr. Williams points out, or kindly doesn't point out, is the fact that he had a plan. And I want everybody to follow me with this one about creativity. He willingly went into the abyss. He willingly went into the abyss. How many of us are willing to go do things that make us uncomfortable? How many of us are willing to pick up skills where you say, oh, it's going to cause you stress and headaches, but at the end, the skill is something that nobody can take from you. How many of us willingly itch ourselves to hardship that say, yeah, this is the easy way, but this is the way, brothers and sisters, where I'm going to learn. At the end of this journey, I'm going to be powerful. And the same thing happened with his children. You know, the interesting thing about Mr. Williams was, and the lady asked the question, what did your children see and da da da? You know what they saw, brothers and sisters? What they saw was a father who loved them. So this is the re-engineering of love. This is the placation of, I'm going to make the family structure what it should be. I just watched the beginning part of this film, and I haven't watched the rest of it. But just from the beginning, the close-knitness of this family is amazing. And I'm going to throw this one out too. The fire that Venus and Serena have is knowing that they have a father who will not do just anything, but he'll do anything for his children, including lose his life. This is a very heavy concept, brothers and sisters. He's working all kinds of jobs and things like that. And this is nothing new. I know we have parents that have done the same thing, who put themselves in the abyss, and we wonder why mommy and daddy worked that job. We wonder why they took on those extra hours, because there was a willingness, because they knew at the end of it, they were not going to come out the same way that they went in. How many people in a creative space, in a creative journey, are willing to say, I'm going to start here, and I hope at the end of this, I'm not the same person I was when I came in. I hope that I'm a different person. I hope that I have different perspective. I hope that I have different skills. I hope that I have a new reassessment about what my abilities are. There's some things creatively that I've tried, I have failed miserably. And in the failure, I was able to pick things. I said, well, it wasn't a complete failure. And just so you know, very, very rarely is there anything supposedly as a complete failure. You can't completely fail. There's decisions that are made, but it's hard to completely fail. Because if you're looking at it, it carries over. You know, the thing that I really, really like about that interview, the interviewer was shaky. The interviewer didn't really know who she was dealing with. The guy, brothers and sisters, if I had to put it out there, he's a genius. He told you what he was going to do. He took a very difficult road. He put himself in that abyss. He masters the aspect of the abyss. And when he comes out, and when his children come out, they are unstoppable. I don't know if you ever watched Venus and Serena play tennis. They don't play tennis like everybody else. They do not play tennis like everybody else. He literally revolutionizes tennis, a man who didn't play, because he realizes that with his girls, an open stance is the way to generate power. Not a closed stance, but an open stance. And now, as we sit here and watch this show, most of the tennis world has moved to an open stance, trying to imitate what Venus and Serena do. So here's my question. When we talk about profitable business, we're talking about establishing a rubric, brothers and sisters, whereby we are willing to do things differently. What I like about Mr. Williams is that he built a model that was in juxtaposition of the other models. Are you willing to build something different in the dark, in the abyss, and be comfortable with it? And trust the process and the energy and the effort that you put into it, and be able to flow and expand and express yourself in that model. You are almost on the inside. When you flip it, it comes out. They say sunshine is in the bottom. You flip it, it comes out. If you are willing to do that, I would gander, I'm not a betting man, but I would gander that creativity is not far behind. That in some cases, you lose yourself from the things that make you comfortable. You lose yourself from the skill sets that get you the pats on the back, and you look at the minutiae, the little things. You know, it's the thing about being in an abyss. When you're in an abyss, they always say the one thing that you're looking for the light. And maybe the mastery or the discipline of looking for the light gives you a focus. You see, creativity these days, brothers and sisters, is mimicry. People are looking at other people's ideas and their models and they mimic. You know, my good friend Sakai Sanders always says, great minds don't think alike, they think differently. Hear what I'm saying here, brothers and sisters. You know, we always use this term, Arthur Schopenhauer. Talent is the ability to hit the target other people can't hit. Genius is the ability to hit the target other people can't see. You can't see in the abyss. Thus, I call the man genius because he found a light in the darkest of most circumstances. Let's be honest. I've never played tennis in Compton, California. Ever. I wouldn't do it. I've been to Compton. I only like to drive through Compton, at least back when I was there. But understand that this man raises his children on a tennis court. You see where I'm going with this. In the most obscure of situations. Bar the fact that, of course, there are beautiful tennis courts all over the state of California, Los Angeles, Palm Springs, Hollywood. But he brings his children to this space and they learn to master the darkness of the abyss. It's almost like the envy I would have with like Stevie Wonder when I was a kid. We got Sister Satana on. Sister Satana, I'm just expanding. I'm going to throw it to you in a minute. But it's like watching Stevie Wonder or just listen to the Fingertips Part 2 when he's singing Fingertips and he's like 11 or 12 years old. And the guy comes up and tries to rush him off the stage like, nice job, kid. And he turns around and goes back and plays an encore. And he kills it. And you sit here going, oh my gosh, this guy is leading a professional band at 12 years old. He's a lead on a harmonica. He's blind. He needs somebody to take him on stage. But he's clearly totally in control. Not even the host could put that light out, you know? And I'm just like, these are masters that we're looking at. Well, let me throw it to you. Sister Tana, what do you think about this creativity and profitable business? Because I feel like profitable business begins here.
Sure, definitely. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, everyone, and welcome to the show. But as you were talking, one of the things I wanted to bring up, and I think this is such a long topic, and maybe we can do this as part of Saturday Spotlight, like to continue it, because this is such a good topic to really drill into. But the thing is, you know, there are going to be naysayers along the way. And even as you look at this movie, there were so many naysayers along the way that didn't see the vision that he saw. And I think we can kind of take, a lesson from this movie, because it was really good, right? And it was very impactful because we kind of grew up in this same time, right? So we really understood it. We understood when they actually called him out, right? They thought he was a bad father. They thought that he wasn't doing great by his children, right? And so we saw this, right? We understood this. This is what the naysayers were saying. He saw the vision. He had the vision, as he said. He saw the vision from day one, and he kept to that vision no matter what the naysayers were coming for him, right? And so that's one of the things with being creative. You will see your creative purpose. Other people will not see it, but you have to kind of block out the naysayers, right?
I think one of the things I've learned in the creativity business, I've learned to create layers and buffers to create ideas. So if someone's talking about something I'm doing here, 9 times out of 10, they're only going to see that section. It might be 5 parts to it. They start part one.
To compartmentalize
Like, go
the.
ahead and go
Mhm.
with part one because that's what you're fixated on. Not understanding part one, I've already internalized, and I can build and I can integrate the other parts, the other pieces. Most of the time, people who criticize you do so because they just don't have vision.
Sure.
And when I say don't have vision, I mean literally they can't see themselves in a winning situation with your idea. So they definitely can't afford to have you in a situation with your winning idea. There was a scene in the movie. I'm not going to do a spoiler alert, but my favorite part of the movie is when they finally get Venus a tennis coach, a high-powered tennis coach. He agrees to teach Venus, and she's going through her workouts, and Venus opens up the open stance, and the coach is like, "No, no, Venus, don't do that." And Mr. Williams goes, "No, no, no, that's the right way to do it." He's like, "No, Mr. Richard," and they're going back. We go, "Oh, you the one to know everything." You can see that this relationship is not going to work. Uh,
Mhm.
and he's like, "No, no, no," because the guy says, "What are you doing?" This was the part. He goes, "What are you doing?" And creatively, Mr. Williams goes, "I am talking to my daughter."
Yeah.
I'm like, "You
Yeah. Yeah. I
like
think we can remember that famous interview where the one of the newscasters is interviewing his daughter, I think it was Venus, and he just kept pounding her, just asking her the same question, and it came in and he interrupted the interview. He was like, "Well, she said what she's going to do. She's a 14-year-old daughter." So there was that protection around that as well, but he was protecting the vision. And she just kept smiling and was like, "Okay, I'm just going to keep going." But you have to have that protection as well, right? But he saw that vision. He kept it moving.
Well, I think the thing also is what could get lost in this film, if you will. What can get lost in the film is essentially he's a master teacher.
Mm-hmm.
He's a master teacher. He re-envisions teaching and sport and purpose and family around a game he never played before. Wife never played. They might have been athletes, but they didn't play this particular game. And so you almost go, well, how do you know coming out of the cradle that they're going to be tennis players? This guy basically says he puts pictures of them, and I'm like, this is really next level stuff. Really next level stuff. But also a space about how you empower ideas. Now we talk about creativity, but I'm talking about how you empower ideas. A lot of people don't understand that a profitable business it begins with an empowered idea. You're
Yeah.
going to create people who are going to want to work with you. You're going to create people who want to be in competition with you. These folks are not
Yeah.
necessarily fans of your idea, but they're
Right.
people who are very, very reticent and holding on to the old models. They need to see whether that model will happen. In tennis, brothers and sisters, the Venus sisters, the Williams sisters will never really be duplicated. You're never going to have sister playing against sister in the Grand Slam tournament. It's just not going to happen. And with ferocity and with competitive guile and everything that comes with playing tennis, the strategy. It was amazing to watch when I saw it in Wimbledon. But I don't want to go too far, brothers and sisters. I know we're over, and I appreciate you listening. We got some more additional to creativity. You had to get up and go. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get up and go is a part of it. But I have, and I hope you guys, if you get anything from this, embrace the abyss. Embrace the abyss. Enjoy the feeling of falling. Ah! Embrace that. The
Right.
fact that you are free falling. And as you, for lack of a better word, as you become more and more secure about where you are in the process and what you want to do in your creative content, that will slow down and you'll be able to stop and start climbing up. Master the abyss. We got one more concept. I am getting a
Mhm.
voiceover on my end, like TV. Is that you, Sister Town? Is that me?
I don't know. She
It's
can't
in the
hear.
background. It's a delayed echo. Oh, she can't hear.
Oh, okay. That may be on Sister Rabina's side. So I know Sister Rabina is on the other side of the pond in the UK. So maybe that's a
Missed you, Sister
connection there.
Rabina. All right. Welcome back. Back.
Yes, yes. Welcome back, Sister Rabina. We missed you.
Next
So
time, call us. We'll pay your Facebook, Jay, over there.
for
All
sure.
right. Well, listen, let's go ahead and wrap up. I know we have some comments, but we're over too. So let me give a shout out to BeFinancialIndependent.com. Again, that's BeFinancialIndependent.com. Go to the website, or you can call 1-888-496-6845. Again, that's 1-888-496-6845. All right, next up, we can give a shout out to Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Again, that's Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Should you be looking for a school that can give you a quality education at the master's level and doctoral level, brothers and sisters, Bayan Islamic School is the place for you. With programs Islamic education, Islamic leadership, Islamic studies, and of course, one of the best programs, the Masters of Divinity, with a focus on Muslim chaplaincy. You can't do better. Go to banonline.org, and that's banonline.org. And a big shout out for our newest sponsor. We got a commercial coming. That's right, Convenient Urgent Care in Houston. Again, that's Convenient Urgent Care in Houston. Go to Convenient Urgent Care, convenienturgent.com. Go to convenienturgent.com with 3 locations throughout Houston, Cypress, Pasadena, and Houston on Parker Road. Listen, you guys have been amazing. Hey, before you get out of here, remember, jump in the abyss. Don't worry about free falling, because free falling sometimes is just freedom. I'm Preacher Boss. This is a shout out show. Stay creative. We'll be back on Monday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, team, we've come to the end of yet another show. And I have to say, I had a good time, and I hope that you had a good time as well. Listen, at this part of the show, we have no more show. I could literally sing a song saying we have no more show. However, to spare all of us that embarrassment and chaos, I'm just going to say, please join us tomorrow here on the Shout Out Show, Monday through Thursdays, and every first Saturday, we do our Saturday Spotlight. Here we are again, 5 to 5:30 on the Central Time. And of course, we're going to do our rebroadcast at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock p.m. And of course, that would be 6 o'clock on the West Coast. So, time for you to go, because it's time for me to go. I think I will do that song. Thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for coming to the show. That's all the lyrics I wrote. But you get the idea. See you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum. Shout out.